Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We invested our time, our theories, and a whole lot of brainpower into Westworld. But then, just as things were getting really interesting and we were promised a grand finale, it just stopped, simply gone. What the heck happened to Westworld Season 5? Let's find out. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The planned finale. Nolan and Joy's unfinished business. Westworld was a super popular sci-fi show that gathered a really loyal fan base, and many of them still desperately wanted to come back. Over 4 seasons, this HBO thriller explored big questions like what makes us conscious, free will, and the nature of reality, all while delivering a plot with lots of surprises and interesting characters. It started in the futuristic theme park and eventually moved to real-world cities, making it a truly bold experiment in science fiction. Even though it was one of HBO's biggest shows, Westworld was over before its creators could complete it the way they had planned to. This was a shock to many, especially since showrunners Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy had openly talked about a 5th and final season. While a return seemed unlikely after the show was removed from the Max in late 2022, Jonathan Nolan himself still hopes to wrap it up in some other way. Jonathan Nolan is still determined to give Westworld a proper farewell, even though HBO canceled the series in 2022. He has made it clear that he fully intends to bring the conclusion of Westworld to audiences, whether or not it's on TV. He stated in a 2024 interview with The Hollywood Reporter that he still plans to finish the story, even if it means presenting it in a different format, such as a graphic novel. This dedication isn't surprising to longtime fans, as Jonathan and Lisa always envisioned a completion, even when ratings dipped in later seasons. They had mapped out 5 seasons as early as 2016, so given Jonathan Nolan's commitment and the show's passionate fanbase, a Westworld return is still a real possibility, just perhaps not in the traditional TV format. While Westworld Season 4 ended dramatically, it wasn't the finale the writers had in mind. Season 5 was always meant to be the true conclusion, a final test in a new park setting that would decide the fate of both humanity and the AI hosts. The creators revealed that Season 5 would have mainly focused on Dolores, who, by the finale of Season 4, had created a simulated world to run one last game. This would have brought Westworld back to the park-like dynamics of earlier seasons, but with much higher stakes. It would have been about consequences and which species, human or host, could build a better future. Characters like Bernard, Maeve, and Charlotte Hale were set up for this plot, but their stories were left unresolved. It's no surprise that Westworld faced challenges in its later seasons, with most people finding it less clear as time went on. However, even as everything became abstract, it maintained a daring and intelligent approach rarely seen on television, which is why a return still feels important. Some fans did stop watching seasons 3 and 4, but even after all this, it was still a show that took huge narrative risks. Few sci-fi series have attempted something so unique, and even fewer have managed it for as long as Westworld did. Why HBO canceled Westworld? Ratings, budgets, and corporate turmoil. HBO decided to cut off Westworld because fewer people were watching it, and it was expensive to make. When the show first started in 2016, it was a huge hit, with its premiere attracting more viewers than any HBO debut since True Detectives in 2014. Its first season even became the most watched first season of an HBO original series until The Last of Us came out in 2023. However, this popularity didn't last. After Season 2, the number of viewers steadily dropped, and then they were slashed in half after Season 2, going from 1.6 million to 0.8 million. By the time Season 4 finished, the finale only had about 312,000 live viewers on HBO, which was a huge 85% drop from the 2.2 million who watched the Season 1 finale. Some people thought the show's stories became too complicated, and the long 2-year breaks between seasons didn't help. Even critical reviews, like those on Rotten Tomatoes, saw the show's scores fall from the mid-80s for the first 2 seasons to the mid-70s for the later ones. The show was very expensive to produce, on top of the ratings issue. The pilot episode was $25 million, and other episodes were $8 or $10 million each, and the first season alone was about $100 million. According to reports, each episode of Season 4 was roughly $20 million, making the season's total cost of 8 episodes approximately $160 million. The elaborate sets, special effects, and the salaries of its well-known cast were the causes of these expenses. Warner Bros. Discovery was making big changes and trying to reduce outflow. CEO David Zaslav had promised to drastically reduce spending, saying the time for creating something at any cost is over. Even though insiders at the network said money wasn't the main reason, the massive budget combined with a sharp drop in viewers made the show financially unsustainable. HBO released a statement thanking the creators, Nolan and Joy, for their mind-bending odyssey. Even Rachel Wood, who played Dolores, knows just a little about the show's intended finale as we do. She told The Hollywood Reporter that after the Season 4 finale, where humanity faced extinction and Dolores was left to decide its fate in a new simulated world, she asked the creators what their plans were for the final season, but they wouldn't tell her. She described all of this as devastating because the creators had always told them that they knew how the show would wrap up, but they never shared it with the cast. After nearly 10 years of developing her character, not getting to see the conclusion was awful for both the actors and the audience. She even joked that the mystery still kept her up at night. James Marsden, another star of the show, also expressed his disappointment. He understood the financial reasons, noting that big shows have to have big audiences to merit the expense. However, he wished it were about more than financial success. He still holds on to the fact that maybe there's some world where it can get completed somehow. Westworld co-creator Jonathan Nolan has promised to bring an end to something that he started, even though HBO suddenly let go of it. He recently told The Hollywood Reporter that he's 100% dedicated to giving Westworld a proper farewell. He wants to give us some closure after the Season 4 finale, Que Sera Sera, unexpectedly became the last episode we'd see. He brought up how it took him 8 years and a change in director to finally get his movie Interstellar made. He is incredibly proud of what they created and doesn't want to just feel regret about how it ended. However, some shows have made a comeback because online forums demanded it. Lucifer, for example, got 3 more seasons on Netflix after Fox canceled it. Sense8 received a feature-length finale, and Warrior Nun is set to return as a film trilogy. This offers a glimmer of hope for us, but before they can find a way to look into Westworld, Nolan and Joy are currently working on another sci-fi project, co-creating Prime Video's Fallout adaptation. It's really tough to get invested in a new TV show these days, isn't it? Just when you start loving a series, there's always that worry it could be over any minute. It seems like more shows are getting the axe after just 1 season now, even though for a while there, cable shows often lasted 3, 4, or even 5 seasons before they were cut. Back in the day, lots of shows were discarded fast, but when cinematic TV was new, streaming and cable platforms gave series more room to grow. Still, some shows definitely didn't deserve to be treated like that. Westworld took inspiration from a classic 1973 film by Michael Crichton, which was titled the same. HBO turned it into an ambitious series. The first season really grabbed people, making HBO think they had found their next Game of Thrones. A big part of Westworld's early audience actually came from Game of Thrones fans. Regardless of what some people thought about where Westworld's story was going, it was largely entertaining for most. Honestly, watching it again recently, I think it's even better than I remembered, and would be great for a binge watch today. I'm still annoyed about certain shows just because I enjoy them, but Westworld's cancellation feels like one of the biggest injustices in TV history. That's because fans were so close to getting all their questions answered, with only 1 final season left. It's one thing to abandon a show in the middle of its run, or before it really gets going, but it's completely different to stop a series that's about to conclude anyway. Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy clearly designed Season 4 to set up a 5th and final season. Spoiler alert, in the 4th season, Dolores' plans are looking good, and one of her copies, Charlotte Hale, manages to take over the world. This brings about huge changes, major battles, and even bigger reveals. By season 4, people were mainly rooting for Maeve, Caleb, and Bernard, while William remained a fun antagonist. In season 4, humans were nearly extinct, with slim chances of peace between humanity and artificial intelligence. Westworld was cancelled just 3 years ago in 2022, but it honestly feels longer. The show seems to have faded from memory, and I hadn't thought about it much until recently. Still, I remember creators expressing their disappointment about HBO's decision, and how they wanted to find other ways to continue the show. There was some talk that HBO might be willing to bring the series back, but that seems less likely now. Originally, Lisa and Jonathan wanted to pitch the final season to other networks for a one-off conclusion. However, that's tricky because HBO owns the rights to the show. Not everyone agrees with Dolores' vision, and as her fate becomes clearer, so do the fates of all the other characters. While a 5th season would likely have forced many main characters into conflict and shown a dystopian world of war and chaos, there would have been a clear narrative leading to a conclusion. Every character would have received the resolution they were headed for from the very beginning. It's not like Westworld was just wandering aimlessly through its complex plot. Vanishing from streaming, access, and franchise uncertainty. Aaron Paul, who joined the show in season 3, shared his disappointment, especially since his character Caleb was shot in the middle of a really engaging plot. He, along with other main cast members like Evan Rachel Wood, Thandoi Newton, Jeffrey Wright, and Ed Harris, had special contracts that guaranteed their salaries for season 5, even if it wasn't made. This meant HBO reportedly had to pay between $10 million and $15 million in salaries to the main cast for a season that was never filmed, which was a lot less than the estimated $160 million it took to produce season 4. Despite getting paid, Aaron still expects that the show could come back, saying he has a sense that there's a way that it could still be told. Other cast members, like James Marsden and Luke Hemsworth, also felt sad about this sudden decision. Marsden hoped the show could return to be concluded the way we wanted to. Hemsworth called the cancellation disappointing because the original idea was for it to go full circle. Is it just me, or did season 4 feel like the show was returning to its peak? It can't be just me, I'm sure most of you will agree with me. As mentioned earlier, Westworld was controversially removed from HBO streaming service Max, formerly HBO Max, in late 2022, as it was part of a broader plan. It found a new home on websites like Tubi and Roku, where it is accessible for free with advertisements. But the show's chances for future revivals were further damaged by this removal from HBO's main platform, which made it much more difficult for us to rewatch the series and for new viewers to find it.
Not without the outlier.
You'll never make it in time.
Split up.
Marvelous verdict. Declining viewership, insane budgets, and corporate shakeups ultimately pulled the plug on Westworld just as it was building towards its final season. It's a bitter pill to swallow for fans and creators alike. Do you think the show could have been saved? Did you have your own theories about how season 5 would end? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our video. Thanks for watching.